something hours. The sweat on my back's got my shirt soaked and sour. And oh, it's already gone. Second night's coming and I'm spinning back around. We're all caught up, can't hear or feel the sound. And oh, it's already gone. And here comes the feeling when you don't got nothing and all you want to do is get up and start running. You can't hide long cause you know it's gonna start up again. Here's one thing that I know for certain, is life's too short to be worrying about you hurting for long. Oh, it's already gone. Got time but money's not something that's free. Seems the roll of the dice never rolls back to me. And oh, it's already gone. A bird in my hand, two cans in the other, start spinning around. Now here comes another, and oh, it's already gone. And here comes the feeling when you don't got nothing and all you want to do is get up and start running. You can't hide long cause you know it's gonna start up again. Here's one thing that I know for certain, is life's too short to be worried about you hurting for long. Oh, it's already gone. And all you want to do is get up and start running. You can't hide long cause you know it's gonna start up again. Here's one thing that I know for certain, is life's too short to be worried about you hurting for long. Well, it's already gone. Already gone. It's already gone.
What's up, Jags fans? We are here ready to go on a Friday night, our regularly scheduled program. And it is a good night because we officially have our GM for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Here we are. James Gladstone is now the head honcho, kind of, for this team. We got him. Yes, he's a young buck, but it kind of goes with the theme of this team and the direction Shad Khan is trying to go. So we're going to talk all things James Gladstone tonight. We're going to take a look at some of the picks the Rams have made. We're going to take a look at the impact that he's going to have. But this is a fan show. So make sure that you get into the chat and make sure that you tell us how you feel about James Gladstone joining the Jags. Was that your first pick? Are you okay with him now that he's here? What will the future look like with this young staff? Do you have any reservations about the youth of this team going forward? Give me all of it in the chat. It's a fan show. I try to get every comment that I can. I will be joined by a special guest here very, very, very soon. As soon as he gets here, he will be added to the show. Make sure to follow everything in the video description. There's my Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all kind of stuff. So jump in and let's get right into it. The big news of the night, obviously, Jaguars hire James Gladstone. And he's been the director of scouting strategy, college scouting strategy for the past 3 years. So working in that Rams tree, they've done a really good job. I mean, they traded away, I think they went 7 years without a first round pick. Last year was the first time they had a first round pick in 7 years because of making trades with people and getting players in. So it's pretty impressive. They've been able to sustain success without first round picks. He spent 9 seasons with the Rams. He was the Rams director of scouting in 2021. He was the director of scouting strategy in 19 and 20. And he was the Rams senior assistant to the general manager, player personnel coordinator in 2018. So that means that he was in his late 20s working with the Rams. And at 34 years old, quite the career there for sure. Let's get to some of your comments here. Callie Jag is the first one in the chat. Callie Jag has the side eyes, looking at the side eyes. Jaggernaut says, what's up, Jags United? Happy Friday, everyone. I'm so glad it's Friday. I am like good to go. My busy season is over. I don't know what to do with myself. I really don't. Wednesday was the last night of my busy season. So I don't know what to do with myself now. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. Kyle says, yo, let's go. He goes on to say, my only GM knowledge has been from Travis, but I do like a guy from the Rams over a guy from the Bears. I agree with everything in that statement. My only GM knowledge was also from Travis, who will be joining us here very soon. And I also like a guy from the Rams better than the Bears. I mean, Les Snead has been great for the Rams for a number of years. And so it's good to have somebody from that tree, in my opinion. Robbie Santos says, yo, what a great day to be a Jags fan. I know. It just seems like this offseason has been very optimistic. It's nice when they make a sweeping change, right? We've done the retreads. We've done all of this stuff in the past, the guys with experience, and we've had no success here. So glad that we can finally get to a change of pace. And I like to see we're going to have this hybrid Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Rams heavy type team probably. And that's great. I mean, that's what we want. It's a copycat league, and those teams that copycat that tend to do pretty well. So I'm pretty excited about that for sure. Punchline's already in here with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Punchlines. Punchline says, makes me happy to see all us Jags fans happy. Best offseason in a long time. Duval. Or is it Duval? Either way, we're happy, and you're right. I mean, it's nice to have some optimism. There was like a little bit of cheeky optimism last year. You know, we were slumping. Year before that, there was some optimism because we ended on a hot streak. Year before that, we were transitioning from Urban to Doug. Year before that, we needed a new head coach. Year before that, we were like coming off of a bad season. Year before that, we were in the AFC Championship game. So it's been a weird while. It's been a weird while for us. Thank you, Punchlines, for the $5. I'm also happy to see happy Jags fans as well. Robert Atzert says, yo. Rubicon Racer says, let's go. Robbie Santos says, you'll always be the future GM in my heart, Jason. One day. Hey, one day. Listen, this is the first time in my life that a GM was hired younger than me. I am less than a year older than James Gladstone, but I'm still older. So it's kind of weird to feel that somebody did it. But I mean, we talked about how he spent a long time with the Rams, the last 7 years with the Rams. So he's at 27, he was hired by the Rams. So at 27, I was still figuring out my life. But that's okay. We're here now. Base Mover says, we did it, boys. Raiden Shogun says, hello. Raiden's on Twitch at Pokey443. Nitro says, James Gladstone film breakdown win. Here's what's interesting about James Gladstone. Dude doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. I'm not kidding. The dude does not even have a Wikipedia page. Like, finding out information about him was like tougher. Like when I was searching the thumbnail is kind of weak. I'm not going to lie with the picture of James Gladstone. There's no pictures of him out there. There's like none. Like the pictures from the Jags are like the only pictures that are out there. So definitely a unknown, which is fine with me. It's fine with me. I mean, speaking of unknown, Shad Khan's quote was, it's going to be fun watching James work with our football leadership. I like how he said that. His football leadership team of Liam Cohen, Tony Baselli, and Tony Khan. But most of all, it will be rewarding. I am confident of that. He actually also said that James Gladstone is a class ahead of all the other candidates. So that's interesting. Interesting phrasing. But I like how he said the football leadership. And we had talked about this on this show before about how this team was going to be ran by committee, I feel like. And I don't know if that scared GMs away or if that deterred GMs from wanting to come here, but it's definitely going to be a collaborative approach, I feel like, whereas in the past it wasn't. I think last year they tried to do a collaborative approach with Trent Baalke, which is why there was the hesitation to fire him because it was collaborative the last year at least. But I think this year, I mean, again, it's going to be like, all right, Liam Cohen, Tony Khan, Tony Baselli, James Gladstone, we're all going to vote on this. And I feel like that's really what it's going to come down to. So Base Mover goes on to say, we got our GM. Shay, channel member, says, can't believe we are here right now. You know who I can't believe is here right now? It always blows my mind when this person is here right now. I can't believe it. I'm glad you're here, Shay, but I'm also glad my man Travis Holmes is also here. Travis, how is it going? How are you feeling today?
It's a good day in Duval County, bro. I think I'm doing solid. I can't say that I'm like on cloud 9, but I'm absolutely on cloud 7.5, 8. I think that's solid.
Are you bringing the energy down right now? Are you attempting to bring the energy down right now?
Well, I wasn't listening to know if I was bringing it down or up. I thought
you're bringing it down.
The tag.
You're bringing it down.
My bad.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm bringing it down then. I don't know what to tell you. I'm always here to provide balances. If I do nothing else, I'm here for that.
Balance. All right, I want to get your thoughts on James Gladstone, but I'm really behind on comments. I'm gonna fly through some comments, and then I'm gonna get your thoughts on because you've done the GM work. You've done the articles on Big Cat Country. You've done the podcasts on Duval Dive. If you check out Travis on his Twitter, it's at Travis D. Holmes. He's done the deep dive, and all of you here already follow him. But if you don't, make sure to do all that stuff. But we want to get your opinion for sure. Base Mover says, I've been ready for a Super Bowl since 2017. Well, Base Mover, I've been ready for a Super Bowl since 1995. Okay, so how about that? King David says, it's party time in Duval. I like it. Preston Tim says, super body happy new GM day. All right. Brandon B, trade for Myles Garrett. Move Walker to the inside. Leave Armstead on the inside. Allen at DN. Okay, that's a lot right there. I don't know if we have time right now to get into that, but maybe we will come back to that. Carson Shack, channel member. Great baseball coach, by the way. Great baseball coach. Coming off of a massive win against Yulee last night. Says, we back. We back. You know who's not back? Carson tried to lay me a nice little 4-leg parlay, and it's not looking like many of those legs are going to hit, Carson. So we may need to have a backup plan here in a second. Israel Otero says, James Gladstone is a genius. Raiden Shogun says, damn, I wanted Jags United as our next GM.
I mean, we were prepping for that, man. I was waiting for that announcement.
Maybe they'll bring me on the leadership team. What are your thoughts on that? Like, bring me, and they got 4 right now. If you add Tony Khan, Gladstone, Cohen, and Baselli, they bring me in as the tiebreaker vote.
They bring you in with Ethan Waugh. I think we'll have a nice
balance.
Whoa!
Don't lump me in there. Don't lump me in there. From Twitter, Antonio Tolentino says, I'm super stoked. I liked him a little more than Ian. So hyped. Best candidate, in my opinion. And I think that kind of leads us to the question from Travis. To Travis, did you like him more than Ian Cunningham? How do you feel about this pick? You said on our last show it was down to these two. You kind of had it pinned there. So what are your thoughts now they made the announcement?
Yeah, this announcement went exactly as I expected it to go. It's if you're asking if it's my favorite, I had my favorite. My favorite was Ian Cunningham, but it wasn't so much. So this felt just like Ben Johnson versus Liam Cohen, where they were close. And again, you knew I was consistent with this from day one. I said this when we had 10, 11 candidates, if you count Mikey Greenberg, that this was my order. It was always Ian Cunningham. Gladstone, but it was truly right there. I'm happy either way. So I want to make sure I'm not arguing with the trolls on the socials, which has been happening for the last few weeks. That is truly that close for me. I'm happy. I'm ecstatic either way. James Gladstone, if you read the deep dives that there's been many of them, but I believe the main one was Jordan. I'm not going to say his last name right, and I want to make sure I give him credit. So if you want to give me a second, I'll just pull up the BigCatCountry.com article that talks about it in pretty good detail. But it's Jordan, is it Rodrigue? It's the Athletic.
Sounds
New
like
York
y'all are
Times.
close.
Yeah, you don't think I'm close?
No, it sounds
That's
like
fine.
close.
I don't.
It sounds like you two
care.
are close friends.
Well, you know what? Go to BigCatCountry.com. It's in the article. It's cited in the article. How about that? It was a 2-article series where they kind of followed the Rams and their scouting process and how they revamped the process from the previous drafts. So before 2023, and you see the results they've had in 2023 and 2024. Take a look at that because it was so good. I was mad that it was only 2 articles like that. It was that good. That's something that the Jaguars may have to look forward to. Is that there will be some changes within the scouting department, but it's going to be for the good to get us more modernized. So I'm ecstatic for that piece, just in general.
Interesting comment here, and this is something I planned on talking to you, Travis, about. Timmy Devil says the Rams. No, this one was it. Ian Cunningham's outfit came from Goodwill. Not shocked he didn't get the job. So I do want to. I have a picture of it here. Travis, you mentioned something on Twitter about this as well. What was it about Ian Cunningham's outfit that rubbed you the wrong way?
So, bro, every person that knows that I'm a Jacksonville Jaguars media person or fan that is of the African American persuasion either text me, message me, some kind of a bat symbol in the air to let me know the same comment. And again, it was unprompted. I had 2 people send me the same photo of Ian Cunningham's family because they had to Google him to confirm that he wasn't raised by a mixed family, because there was just some prototypical core tenet rules in the African American society that you just know. One of those rules is you don't go shopping without getting a receipt. The other rule is you go into an interview, you wear a suit, a jacket, and you wear a tie. I'm sorry, I'm just saying it. I know there's others who may be able to get away without wearing these things, but these are just like general rules. And the reason I say these are general rules, if you've ever seen just a few black movies, they always mention it. Lean on Me, Boys in the Hood, The Pursuit of Happiness. Remember the Titans? You remember Coach Boone?
Yep.
You will wear a jacket and a tie. If you don't have one, buy one. Can't afford one, borrow one from your old man. Don't have an old man, find a drunk and trade for his. The reason they keep saying this in all these black movies is because this is just something that your mama or your daddy tell you when you're young. That's the rule. And my boy came in with a mismatched suit, jacket, and pants. The pants look like they were Snuggie pants. I don't even know. Are those jeans? I can't tell. Like, you lost the interview there, bro. Like, that was it. I don't know what happened in the interview room, but as soon as I see him, I'm like, nah, he ain't serious. What?
I guess now that you bring it up, I'm never one that's good at like matching. I'm not. My mom has always given me crap my entire life that I'm not good at like putting a good ensemble together of clothes. And that's fine. And it's funny that I say this because I'm violating the very rule that she told me that Cunningham's also violating, is you don't wear 2 different colors of blues. That being said, I'm wearing 2 different colors of blues right now. So again,
yes, you are.
But yeah, the 2 different colors of blues here, I'm okay with the no tie because I mean, even Gladstone's not wearing a tie, right? I think ties.
But that's what I said. It's one of them rules in certain communities that other communities might be able to get away with. And that's okay, but you shouldn't be able to get away with that. That's like driving without a license. Like that ain't happening for you. That might happen for other people, but that ain't happening for you, sir. Like,
So when we were talking about this, like we were texting about this earlier in the week, I was trying to think, and I was trying to be a critical thinker here, and I did think this thought. I feel like your notion of like wearing a tie in a suit, that's like solid if you're like trying to become manager at Publix. And nothing against a manager at Publix, because a manager at Publix probably makes more than I do. I'm not saying anything bad about it. But I feel like there's like a certain level of job where that stuff doesn't really matter. Like when the money starts becoming so much, they don't care so much about how you dress and how you look. It's more about what you know. So I thought this job would have been in that realm of like what you're wearing doesn't really matter. Am I off on that? Or
Well, I mean, I did get one person out of the 25 to 30 people that I talked to about this. I legitimately, like, it was to that point where I had to put a post in it. I love Black Twitter. I love Black people, because everyone had the same conversation that I'm talking about, and nobody told them. Nobody told me or told them to kind of have this conversation. Everybody was like, "Dude, what is he doing? What is he doing? You embarrassing us in Black History Month. You can't do this." Like, this was the conversation. So you're not wrong, because someone else, just one person said, you know what? I want the guy who's showing up disheveled. I want that dude who I know is straight up. He looks like a divorced dad, and he is coming here to work. He ain't doing nothing but working. He gonna be in the film room. All right, cool. You know what? And I said that's a legitimate take. That was the one. Yeah,
that's kind of where I was at. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I get your point here.
And my wife was like, you know what? Is he married? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know. That's a good question. That was her first question. Is he married? I'm like, you know what? Maybe he wasn't. Maybe his wife wasn't with him, or maybe something like that. Like, or I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
I feel like if the blues would have matched, I would have been fine with this. But the two different color blues,
it just feels like a rookie mistake, and the young people were dressed up, and that's why I was like, well, the young people other than Gladstone who got it, so that was the craziest part. But
yeah,
but he didn't like that either.
Yeah, he looks fine. Listen, I hope that the days of men wearing ties dies into history. There's nothing I hate more than wearing a tie. It's terrible. It's punishment. It's punishment. So
interesting take.
One of my, and this is the last thing we'll say about this, and we'll move on. One of my goals in life when I was young was to get so entrenched or developed or professional in my career to where I never have to wear a tie again. That was one of my goals in life, and I'm being honest there. So
that was a goal of mine when I worked at Wells Fargo. When I worked in banking, Wells Fargo, Wachovia, when they did that transition, whatever. Having to wear a suit and tie, a shirt and tie every day for like 7 years sucked. It just does. So yeah, I'm with you there. If you can find a way to get out of it, that's pretty. It's expensive too. Just having to do dry cleaning and stuff like that. Just that part of it. So yeah, I'm with you.
In high school, I was a busboy at the Ponte Vedra Inn Club, and I had to wear a gold vest and a tuxedo shirt every day to work. As a high schooler.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Well, we are at the stage where normally I thought this was the young man situation where the young people went to interviews without dressing up, and you having to be told that kind of thing. But now I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken on what this is out there.
It's a new era, Travis. It's a new era.
Yeah, man.
Punchlines gives another $5. Thank you, Punchlines. Appreciate that. He said Travis repped Cunningham even after he rolled through dressed like Roman J. Israel. That one's over my head. I'm not gonna lie.
I rep the man's resume, man. I couldn't. It's Black History Month. Cut me some slack. Like, I gotta support my people. I mean, even if I don't believe in it fully, I gotta. It was hard, bro. Yeah, I had to though.
That's fine. Listen, that's fine. Let's see here. We got Timmy Devil says, I'll give them 2 years to get this thing up and running. 10 picks this year is why I'm not giving them 3 years. 10 picks is over half the amount of starters on the field.
10 picks, 2 years. It's weird because I don't know if that's patient, but it feels patient based on where this team is. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but it's also 2 years, but you also don't know how they're going to work this year's draft. Like, is this going to be a rollover of Trent Baalke's last draft because you don't really have you don't have the ability to change over your scouting staff and everything else. Like you don't have a way to change over your system before the draft. So this is going to be Trent Baalke's last draft with just someone else making the picks.
That's fair. And this isn't going to be great news for Jags fans, but in 2013, which was 2 drafts ago, I understand Les Snead was making the picks. He was the, what's the official term? The director of scouting strategy. 2013, the Rams had 14 picks. Now,
2023.
They didn't have a first round pick, to be fair, and they did hit on Puka Nacua, so you got to give them that as well. They did hit Byron Young, the linebacker, and they did hit Steve Avila as the center. So they hit 1 home run and they hit 2 doubles.
Kobe Turner was solid too.
Who?
Kobe Turner.
Kobe Turner was 2024 draft.
That was 24?
Yes.
I thought Kobe Turner was the second round pick. That would have had to been 20 because they had Jared first and Brandon Fisk in 2020.
You're right. You're right. Kobe Turner was 2023, but he hasn't really been that. Has he been that impactful? I mean, his average over replacement wasn't very high. That's what I went off of.
Oh, so that's a different conversation. I don't know about
that. I mean, that's what I mean. I haven't watched the Rams enough to know how much you know what I'm saying. So I went off of yeah. So, but I was going to bring that up, though, which is interesting. They did draft Kobe Turner in 2023. So they had a third, I think it was a third rounder. He had a third round D tackle. And then he was decent. And then 2024, they followed it up with 2 defensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
So all this talk we had about Mason Smith maybe deterring him from drafting D linemen, it's probably out the window after looking at that past, wouldn't you say?
Well, they were also replacing Aaron Donald with the multiple picks because you can't replace that one guy with 1 pick. It's just not happening unless it's like Jalen Carter or something. But with that being said, I think we're going to get 1. I don't know if it's going to be free agency or the draft, but if we're going to get 1 through those 2 avenues for sure.
So obviously, Jared Verse and Brandon Fisk were home run hires, or drafts, home runs, because they both, I mean, weren't they first and second in rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year voting? I think they were first and second. I believe they were.
They were in it.
Yeah. So do you think Gladstone's history of having Aaron Donald and hitting on Fisk and Verse pretty much locks in Mason Graham as the first pick?
No, I don't believe that yet. I just don't. I'm not there yet because I really do. I'm really just thinking that they're going to go BPA. I think they're probably going to go heavier. And I think, what was it? Cameron Wolf, NFL Network basically said it last week that his expectation of what he was hearing on the ground was, hey, the Jaguars are going to be heavy in free agency on the defensive side of the ball, so that they don't have all those holes, and then they'll just have the ability to do whatever they want to do first round, like truly go BPA. And that's the coin flip on where that's going to land. So I guess we'll have to see what they do in free agency just first, because if they do a stopgap, true nose tackle, true 3 technique, we might have a real good situation where it's like, hey man, Mason Graham or Travis Hunter or whoever just happens to be available at that time. Maybe even Will Johnson. I don't know.
I mean, we had originally planned before the news of James Gladstone to come on here and talk about the first round pick. And I had watched some film on some of these guys. Admittedly, I watched a little bit of film on some guys. And when the news came out, as I was watching the film, and I just closed out of all the tabs and I said, change of plans. So I feel like on our next show, we'll talk a little bit more about Mason Graham, Will Johnson, and all that. I
watched 2 hours of Ashton Genty. I watched 30 minutes of his Penn State breakdown only, just that game, because it was so good for Penn State side. We got to talk about that.
I'm with you there.
We got to talk about that.
I got notes ready to go, but we're going to save them. We're going to save them for next show. Okay, we're going to save them for next show. We're talking all James Gladstone tonight. I do want to hit a couple more comments here. Sorry if I'm backed up. I'm very backed up. But if I miss them and they're good, just type them again, and I'll try my best.
Let's breeze. Come on.
Yeah.
I believe in you. I believe in you.
Thank you. I needed that. Jace Gill says, I feel the same way about ties. I always thought it was odd that businessmen willingly dress with a noose every day. That's true. That's a good point.
Somebody on Twitter said, "Hey man, I know someone who's overcompensated when I see it, because all the people that were dressed up were the bottom three guys." And I'm just like, "Oh,
that's a good point. That's a good point. Good point. A single Windsor is easy to do. Just put the tie on." I wouldn't say easy, but I wouldn't say hard.
Yeah.
I'd say intermediate.
Yeah,
I
had to Google that one, bro. I had to YouTube it for real.
I learned kind of young, and it wasn't difficult.
I knew how to do it, and I just forgot at one point or another when I wasn't wearing ties, and then it just became a relearning situation.
And even now, like I wear ties often. Even now, like every time I do it, it's like a little sideways. It's like I still am not perfect at it. So maybe it's not easy at all.
You're forcing it. You're trying to force it straight and just like pretend.
Yeah, it's like kind of a little crooked, and I'm like, I don't care. I'll just button the top button, and no one will notice. Shane Watson says, first time catching a live show since 2022. Wow. Dang. Well, since 2022. Travis has 8 kids. I'm still single with no kids. But Travis has moved on with his life, so not much has changed for me. But Travis has got a farmhouse of children, right, that he's raising right now.
Travis has 8 kids. Travis is cutting it off. It's a wrap.
Literally cutting it
literally.
King David says, but with proper coaching, those 10 or so losses last year by less than a touchdown could easily in year 1 turn into W's. Hence, last year would put this at 12 wins.
Situational football, baby. That's what it comes down to.
I mean, statistically, in devil's advocate, there's a lot of teams out there that were injuries away from 10. They're all saying they're 2 injuries away from 12 wins. They're also 1-win games from 12 wins. Every team is justifying it that way. I get the 1 touchdown game is easy to do, but I think every team's saying that same thing right now.
Well, I've been banging this drum for 2 years that 1-score losses are generally an indicator of a bad coach. 1-score wins are generally an indicator of a good coach. And I only go by that because Bill Belichick and Mike Tomlin are the 2 top winning coaches in 1-score games. Like historically, as far as active, at the time, we're talking active coaches in NFL, and I kind of been keeping track on that on Twitter. I mentioned it earlier this past season because it was only to say Trent Baalke is bad, but Doug Peterson is a big problem with this current season. That was kind of my thought process. 1-score games, situational football, you get those right, you can be the 2023 Minnesota Vikings.
And if you look at like Vegas lines, they're never typically over a touchdown. So it does kind of go to, I guess you could say, the better coach team. Yeah, that makes sense. With Gladstone as GM, I could see us trading up to get Travis Hunter.
Bold. But are the Rams, they're not really a trade up team though. They'll trade away players and get more picks, or a trade back team. I don't really see them being aggressive trade. They'll trade for a free agent before they trade.
Right. That's what I was going to say. Or they'll trade picks for a player that's established. Yeah.
That's it.
Steven Giles says Shad has brought together a bunch of smart young guys moving fast and breaking things, almost like we have a Doge, but Jay is Jaguars. Department of Jaguars efficiency. I like that, Steven. I know Travis likes that. I have so many things. I have so many things I could say right now, and I'm not saying it because we're gonna move on to the next comment. So many things, but putting a pin in it. But Travis, I'm putting a pin in it.
Okay.
I'm putting a pin in it.
I'm letting it go.
Put a pin in it. Preston Timms, in terms of drafts, I'm quality over quantity. Rather have only 4 or 5 in days 1 and 2 than 10 through 7 rounds.
I mean, yeah, sure.
I mean, if you can hit a Puka Nacua, I don't care. You can have 1 pick. But what I will, looking through, and again, the only research I did was the wins over replacement, not WAR like baseball, but like they have it for football too. And what I did notice about the picks that the Rams have made over the last 3 years is all of their defensive backs contributed. Like all of them, whether it was the 7th round, 6th round. He took a lot of late round DBs, and they all contributed playing time. So that gives me hope, because if there's one thing Trent Baalke did consistently, it was whiff on defensive backs. So
that's fair. And it was definitely helpful, the defense that they played in, playing a lot of its own defense and having a Aaron Donald. But yeah, you're not wrong. Having consistent contributors in the late round, that's the Chiefs' way. That's a lot of winning teams' way. If you can find a way to get those guys to actually just do something and not be like a Luke Fortner kind of starter, but like legitimately playing at least average to above average football.
Will Gladstone, I'm certain I don't have to worry about my GM doing stupid stuff or doing stupid.
Let's not assume that just yet. That's that whole Jaguar statement I always hear. It can't get no worse. Don't assume that these days. You wishing it on us, man.
What we do know about this GM is that his jacket and his pants will be the same color, and they will match. They will.
There we go.
They will match.
There we go.
Mr. Know-It-All says BPA all day. That's right. That's right. Stud D-line Mason Graham needs to be the pick. I want T-Mac at 5.
We're going to get into that this offseason, bro. So much. So many passionate feelings right now with these players being mentioned.
We're not there. We're James Gladstone tonight. We're James Gladstone. I know who I like, but without definitely knowing their system, what kind of players work, I'm going to trust the staff this draft. Everyone's rhyming tonight.
I gotta do more work looking at Green Bay and looking at the defense to figure out what they're going to or potentially going to do. So that's my big project.
I did an Anthony Campanelli breakdown, so feel free to go back and watch that, Travis. And I did kind of talk about the defense that the Packers ran and what type of stuff they did. Take a
look at that. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I mean a lot of multiple coverages, zone, man. They mixed it up. They were multiple in the front. They had some odd man fronts, some even man fronts. They did a lot of disguising with their linebackers. Yeah, I mean, nothing. What I got out of it is there wasn't like with Nielsen when we watched his Falcons film. It was like he wanted to play bully ball. He wanted to play man, beat you up the line of scrimmage, chase you off the line of scrimmage, stay on the hip. When we watched, was it Caldwell? Is that the D coordinator?
Mike Caldwell. Yeah,
Mike Caldwell. We watched him. It was, he wanted to play some zone. He wanted to disguise his one high, roll into one high. He wanted to bring his safety down in the box, bring some blitzing. With Green Bay's defense, who is not Campanelli calling the plays, to be fair,
right?
There wasn't like one thing that stood out to me that was like, this is what this guy wants to do. He kind of played to the offense's strength, if you know what I'm saying.
So which means you're now looking for guys who can do it all and not just a guy who's really strong in man or strong in zone. That makes it a little bit interesting. So now, at least, I mean, that does help though, because a lot of there are some guys who are just man only or just zone only. So at least you can delete those guys from the conversation.
Unless they feel they can teach those guys to do what you both.
Fair.
Which I don't know. If Hunter is there at 5, I think we'll take him.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah. Do you?
Yeah. I do.
Do you think he'll be at 5?
No,
I don't either.
I still question whether or not 2 quarterbacks are going to go beforehand, and that's the only way he gets to 5.
I think Hunter will be top 3.
I can see it. I mean, again, I truly don't think 2 quarterbacks are going to go top 5. So that would have to happen for Hunter to make it to Jacksonville at 5, in my opinion.
Cam Boysvert, channel member. Hype about the youth and change of direction went in on 2 season tickets this year.
Dang. Already.
Well, you'll be able to find Travis and me at the games. We may be in different states of mind, but one of us is working and one of us is not. I'll let you decide which one's which from that, but I'm not going to tell you. Isaiah Jones has 8 kids. Yeah, he's trying.
Don't believe that, man. I do not have a compound. No,
he's trying for his 9th. Actually, is what I heard. He's trying for his 9th. So, yeah, I don't want anybody but Mason Graham at 5. The folks who are screaming for Hutchinson are ignoring what they see in Graham. Are they not the same but in different positions?
Are they not the same, but in different positions? No, that's a hard one, Timmy.
I don't think
'Cause
so either.
I don't think they're the same. Mason's great at stopping the run. Hutch was not. Hutch was a dog in the passing game, a beast in the passing game, but the run game was never his forte. Mason Graham actually does well stopping the run. He may have some, he may have some issues with speed to power as far as that's concerned, but he's still powerful enough to make it happen on the edge and moving around the line and stuff like that. But I don't see them being the same. They're just two dominant players who also happen to be white. That's probably about it.
And played for Michigan. Michigan. Okay, you can't just find one common denominator, Travis. Okay,
I'm trying to figure out what else the
Sometimes
common
there's more
denominator.
than
I'm like, I
one.
guess the school. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right, my bad.
They traded up for Fisk, says Nitro.
Yeah, they traded up in the second, right? No, they traded up in the second. Am I mistaken? It's
I
an
can't
all
remember.
memory, man.
Yeah.
Pardon me if I get it wrong. I'm not. Again,
I can tell you right
I don't
now.
follow the Rams.
Fisk went in the second at 39.
All right, traded up in the second. All right, cool. Yeah.
And then they went on the third round and took Blake Corum, who rushed for only 207 yards, which I know sounds like not a lot. But when you compare that to Keelan Robinson's 0 yards, then that 207 looks pretty good. You know, that's a 207% difference in the running backs that were taken between the two GMs. So
I thought Blake Corum was going to be a man. I thought he was going to be that dude.
Is.
Mainly because he went to the Rams also, but
yeah.
No,
also,
nothing happened.
Michigan. So don't forget that common denominator. Then in the third round, they also took Cameron Kitchens, who had out of Miami, who had 36 tackles, a forced fumble, a touchdown, and 4 interceptions.
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought Kitchens had a good season. I didn't have his stats up, so thank you for that.
Yeah. So the rest of the draft, I didn't even look. Sixth round pick. They took a kicker, Joshua Carty, who was 85%, and the Jags took Cam Little, who was 93%. So you could give Trent Baalke one there. You could give him one there. Our kicker was better.
I mean, Trent has a few arguments. Trent, personnel-wise, in the 2024 draft, let's just say it like it is, Trent Baalke was not the worst. He might not even been middle, he might have been average to above average in the 2024 draft. Looking back, we can probably say that. Mason Graham, obviously BTJ, obviously Cam Little, Jarian Jones. You can get 4 solid starters in a draft. You gotta say that was a solid draft. That was a good draft.
But when you factor in the free agents,
right. He wasn't a good general manager at all.
It's I turn in all my homework. I just fail all the tests, that type of thing.
You been talking to my kids? Yeah. Nah, my kids they're dope. They're dope. But yeah, don't mind me.
All 8 of them?
All 8 of them.
Chandler Berger says, Jason, political show, when?
Yeah, so about these tariffs, nah, man, we ain't doing that.
Tariffs? How about we talk about the statues that Trump's putting up in the Memorial Garden? How about that? Did you see that story? For Black History Month? Seeing how you've brought it up so many times?
I mean, it makes sense. If you're gonna do something like that, you're gonna do it in Black History Month. Right? I mean, no, it wasn't about Black History Month. It was about whatever other thing. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. No, I mean, just compared to all the statues that Biden put up when he was president, it's.
I couldn't tell you one statue they put up either. Exactly. So at least I'm consistent about this. I ain't paying attention to no statues.
Okay. All right. Joe says, also, can we get Calais Campbell back to Duval on a 1-year deal to help this young team on the field and in the locker room?
C. Campbell, Calais. That's a good call. I was not sure what he was talking about. I'm not a big fan of the whole bringing the guy to coach, pay him to play kind of thing. Show him if you have a super duper young roster, sure, I might get it, but that's not the Jaguars right now. You got Josh Hines Allen, that's your Calais Campbell. You got right now I know Devon Hamilton, and he's 2 years off of that back issue, but nevertheless, those are your guys on these second contracts that you're depending on to be your Calais Campbell. So, hey man, beat Calais.
That would be nice if he became Calais. I'm with you, Timmy. I really want Graham too. Kid teleports the gaps.
Teleports gaps.
I like that. I've never heard that.
I was thinking it.
I've never heard that. I like that though. I might steal that, Preston. Hunter's ceiling is the Sistine Chapel, but I could see him having a Reggie Bush type career, but more valuable because of his versatility.
I mean, whoever drafts, I said this on this week's Duval Dive. Like, whoever drafts Travis Hunter, you have to have a plan. Like, because if you don't have a plan to have him on both sides of the ball, he loses. It's like buying a car brand new off the lot. Like, if you're going to buy this car brand new off the lot, then you absolutely better be driving it like crazy, because you're going to lose 20% of the value as soon as you drive it off. Well, that's Travis Hunter. If you don't play him on both sides of the ball, moderately significant. Like, the snaps. If you're just playing him on defense to try to let him get his feet wet and everything else, then he's not worth that top 5 pick already. I mean, he would have to be like generational as just a corner or as just a receiver to make that kind of worthwhile. I don't know how that's gonna work. So I'm hoping they got a plan, like really with both sides of the ball.
I think the best way to use him would be to make him like a starting corner, and I think he could be a cornerback 1, and then bring him in on like 10 personnel, 11 personnel type situations. And anytime that you're in 12 or 21 or anything like that, then you leave him off the field. I think that'd be the best way to use him, because just logistically, you can't play him that much and him not get hurt. Just playing the stats, being on the field that much.
It's so funny because I've had people have the exact opposite argument, and I don't know how to feel about it. Just being honest with you, like they'll be like, no. The most, what is it called? What is the word I'm looking for? The position you get the most bang for your buck is going to be receiver. So have him play all of the snaps at receiver and just use him occasionally at DB. Like, it's the same argument. It's just receivers cost way money. I mean, your best cornerback is going to be a middle tier is going to be paid like a middle tier wide receiver, realistically. So why not play him at receiver and then just figure out cornerback and free agency or whatever? Like, I don't know.
I mean, it makes sense, but the only hole in that argument is that your cornerback 1, a good cornerback 1, is getting paid as much as a top receiver.
Oh no!
I mean,
no. It's not close. It's not close. Top receivers and top corner. I can look at the stats while you keep.
No, I know what you're saying,
but
like,
I'm gonna look at the contrast.
But like, close. Yeah, and I understand you're looking at like value with money, but when you look at value as far as like what they add to your team, a shutdown corner adds just as much value as a wide receiver 1, as far as like your value to your team, because your shutdown corner shuts down the other team's wide receiver 1. So if he can do that, you're shutting down the most valuable player on their team. So actually, it makes more sense to take away their most expensive asset with your cornerback 1.
But most of these guys aren't true shutdown. There are so few true shutdown corners.
You're right.
Like, most of those guys are just good, or maybe even great, and they're still not like shutting those guys out. Like Tyson Campbell was our cornerback 1 last year, and against what was it, the Jets game? Yeah, it was the Jets game when their wide receiver 1, I forget, ended up going for like 150 yards. That's not great. And he's not a bad cornerback at all. It's just to say you're not going to take those guys away fully. So I'm thinking if you want to have the receiver, not the guy trying to stop that guy normally.
I get it. Let's see here. Trent listened to the special teams coach. Special teams coach is still on the roster. So Balky's decent work in the draft makes me hopeful with Waugh staying. Is Waugh staying? I haven't seen that, but
there's the rumors that Waugh is going to have a role on this future front office. The question of what or where, I should say, because I always thought he was going to stay on through the draft from day one, no matter if he was staying on as general manager or not, because he's been the one that's over the scouting department this whole time. So it just made sense that he's going to stay on at least through the draft, and then they figure out whatever they got to do or move whoever around or whatever.
Did y'all talk about Gladstone yet?
Nope.
We did. Travis loves him. It's who he wanted the whole time. So it actually works out really well. I don't know, man. Like, obviously there's good GMs in the league, but I feel like identifying them is like identifying a good quarterback in the league. It's like a coin flip. And it's like, I don't know
Right.
if I don't know if like it's hard for me to get excited about a guy that doesn't throw the ball when the guy that throws the ball is a coin flip and this guy is a coin flip. So hope he does well. I mean, he hasn't proven any track record of doing well as the GM. He's never been a GM, but he's worked under some good people. What would you put? What do
We have
you? Are you?
12
Are
here?
you? You're not going to answer this question, so I don't want to ask you. But like, what do you? What do you
Oh.
lean in toward? Do you think Gladstone's? Are you leaning more he's going to be successful, or leaning more to where there's might be a sharp learning curve and it might not work out?
So I've often said this offseason, and this is before we hired James Gladstone. So I want to be clear in saying it's not specific to him. It's just about the whole organizational buildup. It's a lot of young guys across the board. And by young, I don't mean age. I'm talking about young experience
Right.
as far as that piece is concerned. Age is also a thing, but more experience-wise. So you have a first-year EVP in Tony Baselli. Cool. That's fine. That happens. That is what it is. But then you also have below them a first-year head coach, a first-year offensive coordinator, a first-year defensive coordinator, and a first-year general manager who also only has 5 years experience as the director of scouting and strategy. And I believe it was 1 year or 2 years, maybe, experience as the player personnel guy. So you're talking about someone who has 9 total years experience. That's a little bit sort of like a rookie, I should say. That's my question. It's like if somebody's going to fail because someone has to fail. Just pure mathematics. Someone's going to fail and struggle early on in their role. Who is it going to be, and how is that going to work? Because you're a young roster and you also have a ridiculously patient owner. I just don't know how it's going to work, and who's going to check who in this process. And if it is James Gladstone, how much of a rope are you going to be able to give whoever the person is that's struggling in their role? 2 years, 3 years? Because that's what Mike Caldwell got. You know, he still got his 2 years, and as a GM, you're probably going to get 4 bare minimum.
Yeah. Not to mention under Shad Khan, probably 10. But is there something to like the Commanders had this moniker of like they're all so young, they don't know they don't know like they're, you know what I mean? They're just out there like playing. They don't know what they don't know yet. So they're just out there like with their pants on fire playing. They've never experienced losses before. They're out there just kind of flying by the seat of their pants. Is there a chance this team of young people could catch that lightning in a bottle and just not even know enough not to know they don't know enough and be good?
Absolutely. Because again, I don't think the Jaguars were so far from being at minimum an average to above average football team. Like, I don't think that's a stretch of the imagination if you just show up some solid, areas up front. Like, again, I said it earlier. I thought the Jaguars had enough people to get those explosive plays. I just thought they didn't have enough people to gain 3rd and 1s or stop 3rd and 1s and things like that. So that's offensive line, defensive line. You invest heavily in that, like the Lions did under Brad Holmes. Cool. You can flip this thing pretty quickly in just a free agency and a draft class. Like, I don't think that's crazy. So yeah, I'm confident in that piece.
Timmy Devil says, not many shutdown corners in the league. We shut down Justin Jefferson last year without a shutdown corner. Yeah, I think that was more of like a lack of quarterback play, though. But maybe you're right. Mr. Nodal says, I wanted Jim Nagy. Jesus died for you too. Says this is a great hire.
This is
2 bros, 1 goal. Says move Jerry outside, Savage in the slot. We gonna way more zones, so they will be better. You said you haven't looked
if we play more zone, moving Jarian outside is fine. If we're playing more man, I feel very confident in leaving Jarian where he is, but you also can't have your tells. Like, you don't want to move him inside only when you're playing man or whatever else. Like, however you figure that out, Campanelli, they'll figure it out. But just the whole moving Jarian outside thing, I'm always weird about because he was so good in the slot. Like, he was top of the league good in the slot, man.
And I don't want to go too deep down this rabbit hole, but The issue with zone is your linebackers got to be able to cover. Does this team have linebackers that can cover?
I think they can cover enough if we had more of an interior rush, which we've never had. We just never have it.
I watch teams week after week do a 3-step drop and pick apart our linebackers. So I don't know if I'm with you on this. And maybe the change of scheme and the coaching and the language and the technique, maybe that'll change things. But I watched a lot of crossing routes and shallow curls and things enough to know that I don't know if these 3, 4 can play a zone in coverage.
Jason, we can't do this. We cannot do this, sir. We cannot leave a Trent Baalke error. And the first conversation we're having on getting a new general manager hired is we've got to talk about bringing in more linebackers. No, we don't need more cowbell. We don't need more linebackers. Not yet. You got to give me a day to be like, all right, maybe you might be
That's
right.
fair.
You might be right. But that man drafted a linebacker like every year.
I mean, okay, all right, that's fair. That is fair. I'll concede that. That is fair. Gladstone was Brad Holmes' replacement on the Rams. Just give me something similar that Holmes is doing with the Lions.
Yeah, that's it.
Draft Hunter if he's there. We can get a DT in the 2nd or 3rd round. I mean, if Hunter's there, we're taking him, but he's not going to be there. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
How much experience did we have over the last 10 years? Did it help?
Hey, man, all experience ain't good experience.
That's just a good point. It's true.
Nate Hackett experience.
That's a great point.
Come on, man.
That's a great point. You could always bring it back to that. You really could. This free agency will tell us a lot of the direction of this team in the draft.
I
think Travis is overhyped. We're going to be the Google or Apple of the NFL ahead of the curve.
Google or Apple? Sure. Apple's not ahead of the curve.
As far as bringing all these...
I was about to say, because Apple is not ahead of the curve. Apple is still in everything from Huawei. And if any of you don't know about global economics and global phones and systems and everything else, no, Apple still is everything. None of it's new.
I don't think you'd be able to convince anybody that Apple wasn't ahead of the curve with being one of the biggest brand. I've never even heard of the brand you said. So whether it was marketing,
we're Americanized. We don't think about stuff out. They're bigger than Apple. Huawei is bigger than Apple. I'll say it clearly for you to hear.
Bigger than Apple.
It's cell phone purchases of cell phones. They are worldwide, and Apple is primarily the United States.
Are you talking about Wawa? Wawa, the gas station?
No, it's Huawei, but it starts with an H.
Yeah, no, I found I was kidding.
We had to stop selling it in the U.S. and say it was because of their association with the Chinese government. No. Everything that Apple was doing was 3 and 4 years behind those guys, and they were just stealing their plans and just patenting them for the U.S. Nah, bro. Apple is not ahead of the curve. Apple just good at marketing and making you pay for it.
Hey, marketing's part of it. Marketing is part of it. Marketing is part of a business, all right? Just like getting free agents is part of being a GM, okay? You can't just be good at one thing and say you're good. You got to be good at everything.
We talking about football, but we're going to bring some other random stuff into it. That's all I'm saying.
You got to be good at everything. Trent Baalke could draft first-round picks, but he wasn't a good GM, okay?
I mean,
you can put a good product out, but if you can't market it, you're not a good company. That's the bottom line.
That's fair.
You like that analogy? I
do.
Hopefully we can hit on some late round picks like Puka or we didn't even talk about Kyron Williams, who they drafted in 2022, who they also drafted Kobe Durant, another corner. In 2022, they had no first or second round pick, and they still got 2 quality players out of that draft, including one that's really good in Kyron Williams. So good point, little big man. I think Hunter is a can't miss prospect, to be honest. So I disagree with you 100%.
Ooh.
That's how I feel.
Missed prospect.
That's how I feel.
You think Travis Hunter is a can't miss prospect?
I do.
I frequently thought of Travis Hunter as Leonard Fournette. Excuse me, at cornerback. Like, I think of him as Leonard Fournette at cornerback. Like, he could be everything that you think he's going to be, and he could just be that guy who is just a really good NFL player, but also size, profile, and all of that. Someone who may get stuck in a slot corner role or get stuck in a slot receiver role just because of that size and we talked about this in the previous pod.
Right, and I'll say what I said then is I think he's more of a Derrick Henry prospect. He's a guy that doesn't fit the mold as your typical guy, and they've never seen someone that big do it. They've never seen someone play both ways, and Derrick Henry's still running for 1,000 yards like as we speak. So he could be Leonard Fournette, but he could be Derrick Henry. So I guess that's where we disagree.
That's fair. That's very close. Yeah.
Hiring first-time GM seems like the hardest hire in the NFL. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're not talking about Travis Hunter anymore. I know these comments are from when we were, so I'm not getting on to anybody, but this is not a Travis Hunter show, okay? And again, not getting on to anybody because these comments were from when we were talking about it, but I'm just going to skip over them because we got to talk about the GM. We got to
feel free to go to the Duval dial. We talked about Travis Hunter on Thursday. Yes, we got.
Okay, yeah,
we'll take all your comments. We will take your Travis Hunter comments, please. Yes, like and subscribe.
Yeah, do it. I mean, and seriously, if you haven't, you should. I mean, they do a great job over there, so make sure you do it. Jarian needs to stay in the slot. Travis and Jason should have a show where they grade our mock drafts. Do it.
Ooh.
I would need to do some more film work. I haven't done enough film work to be able to do that. That's the problem. But I'm down.
I haven't seen enough prospects. I will agree with you.
I'm down.
I'm still in first round prospects right now, man.
Right. Me too. Jaguars will be Rams East. Also says, so glad Balky is gone. I think we all are. People talking like Savage is trash.
Everyone in that secondary played like rough last year, and that's including even the linebackers. So I can't say anything specific to Savage. Like, I didn't think he was trash. The advanced data said he had a rougher season than I personally thought he did. Like, someone had to point it out to me. So I don't know that he's trash, but I also was going to be interesting to see what he's going to do in a different defense that may not be playing man as often as the last one. That was kind of what fit his profile, though.
I'm not going to say he's trash. This is what I'm going to say about him. I'm going to say, you know me, I like my analogies. I'm not going to say he's trash. I'm going to say he was a plastic bottle that was used up, thrown in the trash, recycled, made into the plastic little 8 rings for cans, and then thrown in the trash a second time. That's how trash I think he is. I think he's double trash. I think he's been trashed twice. And I think that when he was signed and I looked at his average completion percentage against in coverage and he was at the bottom of the league, I said, why are we signing this guy? Oh, we're signing him to be a box safety. Oh, and then he's penciled in as the starting nickel corner. Then he goes in, he's playing all over the field, and we're paying him all this money, and he has been thrown in the trash, recycled, and thrown in the trash again. That's how I feel about Darnell Savage.
So can I give, if you don't mind, just a little bit of balance to that Darnell Savage conversation? Because you know I love my defensive backs. And if they're playing bad, I'm going to be the first one to tell you they're playing bad. We gave Andre Cisco the smoke all year long.
Let's hear it.
Savage was brought in initially to be that slot corner role while they let Jarian Jones kind of develop, because not truly knowing if he was going to be the dog that he ended up being, you kind of have to have a backup plan. And he ended up being that plan. And he was solid until they had injuries in the secondary, both at safety and at corner. And eventually later in the season, they end up putting Savage back in a spot where he was playing in Green Bay, which is being the free safety, playing over the top, which is not what they wanted him to do. That's not what they brought him in here to do. They brought him in there to be that slot corner role and playing a lot more man coverage. He ended up end of the season doing the same thing that he struggled doing in Green Bay because they didn't have a choice, because everyone around him just stunk from high heavens. That's honestly what it was. So if they end up playing another man coverage defense this coming season, I'm not against having Savage back there, because I actually thought he was solid in that role. It's just whenever they started doing everything else, it kind of went off the rails.
So why don't we bring in a guy instead of Savage that can do both?
Oh, we should. But you won't necessarily be able to bring in everything in every offseason. So there will be some guys you have to make those negotiations where you're just not going to be able to upgrade this role this offseason, because I'm still trying to find someone to man the Andre Cisco role, or the other outside corner role, or the defensive tackle role. Like, all these other spots got to get people too. So you got a few bites at the apple.
All right. I still don't understand how you can't play free safety, but you're expected to be a good slot coverage corner. I just
one is playing man and the other's playing. Man, we talked about this. I was a great man corner. Zone is just different, and this was a zone man match defense, which is a mixture of both.
But
everybody don't work for it. It don't work for everybody. It just don't.
I mean, they rolled him into a lot of coverages where he was playing man, whether he came down the middle of the field and he was covering the tight end, or he was playing middle of the field. You're just not going to sell me on someone that can man up a slot receiver but can't patrol the middle of the field. I just I'm sorry if you can't do that.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about literally for multiple weeks with Andre Cisco. Because one of those things is just because one of those things was like, hey man, no. Play him nice and just play him tight. You learn that in middle school and high school. Hey man, that dude, you guard him wherever he goes. That's easy. Making sure I have the right eyes and the right leverage when I'm in coverage, even though there's not a guy I'm looking at. This is just awareness and discipline. Those are two different things, man. They're just two different traits.
I guess my point is I don't want someone in my secondary that doesn't have awareness and discipline, like at all.
Facts.
Like if you don't have awareness and discipline, you probably shouldn't be starting. I guess that's my only point.
I hear you, and I'm not even against you. I'm just saying, like, hey, man, Bill Belichick made a freaking career off guys who may not be good at doing one thing, but just making sure that thing that they do, I'm going to make sure they do that all dang day. And, yeah, here's why he got guys in the 6th round that were just able to do this one thing incredibly well. And he's like, all right, just do that. Well, that's good coaching.
I hope Anthony Campanelli is Bill Belichick, I guess I hope that's true. Travis spreading Chinese propaganda plus 100 social credit.
I laughed out loud on that when I had to get away from the mic. Well, when he first posted this, yeah.
I'm giving the new regime 2025 to get it figured out, but not expecting much in 2025. We've talked about this before. I'm kind of expecting a little bit of a learning curve. I am.
Yeah.
I think they'll figure it out, but I think Jags fans may have to be patient just a bit.
And I don't know if the Jags fans have that in them.
I don't either, but hopefully they do. Basically, Cisco last season. Wish we could have watched this super. Wait, I wanted to get to this one. Please pray for my father. He's in the hospital, and the doctor said he can go at any moment. The moments we had together eating the Jags were some of the best times of my life. Love you, Dad. Absolutely. And we'll be praying for him for sure. It's always tough when those types of situations happen. Always remember, spend time with your family. Like, Austin will be able to tell you better than anybody. Like, family is one of those things, that you kind of put off putting around because, it might not always be the most fun. It might always be inconvenient. But, like, when they're gone, you're always wishing for that time back. So, try to make them. I mean, regardless, you're going to be wishing for that time back, regardless of how much time you spend with them. But don't hesitate hanging out with family, and that's something I need to be better at as well. So we hope the best for your dad. We'll be praying for him for sure, Austin.
And it doesn't have to be hanging out. Just reach out to your family, talk to your family, have real conversations. At least ask real questions. Hey, man, what's your highlight for the week? What's your low light for the week? It's a simple question that can mean the world to someone, especially if you don't talk to them very often. So
yeah. And Travis is really good at that, and he's inspired me to be better at it as well. So reach out to people. You'll never regret reaching out to people and talking to them, but you will regret not doing it. So just do the former. I wish we would have been able to bring one of the veteran DCs that were available. I mean, if you're gonna go young and just genius football, go all in, right? You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to do it, I mean, no point in go all in, I guess is what I would say.
Yeah, I'm fine with the DC hire, honestly. Like, as much as, what is it? Little big man wants the veteran hire. I'm fine with it. Like, again, we're going with the youth movement. We're going with the youth movement across the board. So let's see what happens. Again, if we hit on 4 out of 5 of these guys, I think we're still in a solid position. Like I just be happy with us having a modern offense, and that starts and ends with Liam Cohen. So I think we'll be fine there.
And I like everything I'm seeing out of Campanelli so far. Like I like what he says. I like his attitude. I like it. I mean, that's all we can go off of. I like it though. Like
you just said a big bag of nothing. That boy just said, I like everything that I'm seeing from the guy who ain't did nothing. All right, cool. Like I'm a fan of the hire, but boy, we stretching that thing.
What else are we gonna say? We haven't seen anything. He's never even been in DC. I don't know. I mean, all we can go off of is like what he says, and I like what he's saying. That's all. That's all. I'm
tall in that spread. He stands tall in that press conference, and he answers those questions like a man. Like what?
He gains control of a room, and he demands respect, which is better than not doing that.
That's fair. That's
you know what I mean.
A lot like James Gladstone. Yes.
You have to tell us more. I don't know much about.
Oh no, I was just seeing the videos of him when he's leading the locker room in these last 2 drafts for the Rams. That they've kind of released all those behind the scenes videos.
Rajiv says late, but I want to say I'm fired up that we're getting a piece of the Rams scouting. They have absolutely crushed it.
Yes, that means the Jaguars will absolutely be hiring multiple scouts. They're going to be hiring multiple people who technically aren't scouts, but also just have roles in the department. Again, you got to read that article on Big Cat Country with what is it? The other article by Jordan, that's linked within the article that talks about how vast the Rams scouting department is, just so you can get an understanding of, oh no, the Jags are going to be adding roles and positions. They've been lean for a few years. They're going to have to ramp this thing up.
That's true. Well, I'm excited. It sounds like you're excited, Travis. We're at about an hour 13. I'm at an hour 13. Travis is kind of excited, not really excited. Before I let Travis pump everything that he's got coming up soon, I do want to just show Travis one thing here and get his thoughts on this. This is from Reddit. When you realize you're older than the Jaguars' new GM, head coach, offensive coordinator, and DC.
No. Wait. I'm not older than the DC. Let's go. I ain't there yet. Nah, bro. Unless Anthony Campanelli loses a few years, we all right. I'm still ain't there. I am officially not old yet.
You're not old, Travis. Don't even think for a second that
I'm just black. I'm black. I'm old though. I just look like this. They say black don't crack because
they do say that
we lather ourselves in lotion. But no, I'm older.
I like to think that my Arab side of my family has kept me looking a little younger than I am, and I'm going to hold on to that as long as I can.
Okay.
Because one day I will not be, and that's it. All right, so Travis, what do you got coming up next? What do you got coming up the next week or so? What are you working on? What you got for them?
Well, now that the news of the hire is done, we're entering like full steam ahead in draft season. So we're going to be doing the different mock drafts on Big Cat Country. We'll have all the different player, the updates from the combine, obviously, how to watch and everything else. But because I'm the breaking news guy, this is my highlight season where there's not much news to break. So I get to do analysis again, players, breakdowns, things like this. So I kind of enjoy this season. So just take a look at bigcatcountry.com. We're going to have you guys covered, man. I don't even know what's coming up next. I'm going to decide in the next few days.
I like it. I'm debating whether I want to take, a week or so off. I don't know. I'm still deciding. Just got done with my busy season. Like this is like my first weekend where I'm not working, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So, make sure you have the notification bell on and subscribe to everything. I got all of Travis's stuff in the video description on the title. If you click on it, all of Travis's stuff's on there. So make sure to check it all out. Follow all his stuff. I know you guys do because he's the best.
You know what you should do? You should take a week off and then come on to the Duval Dive. You should do that. Like, just take a week off here and then come on to my pod.
I'm down. I mean, I think we were talking about this. You guys record at a weird time, right? And wasn't that the issue?
Why gotta be a weird time, bro?
Because it's like a weird time.
It's just 7:30. It's 7:30 at night. Man, why I gotta be weird? Why you throwing shade?
I thought it was like 3:30 or something, but 7:30 is normal. I thought it was like 3:30, and I was like, I don't have off at 3:30 typically.
We record like regular people, bro. We just
okay. All right. Well, we'll talk about that. I'm down. You know, I'm always down.
Nah,
I'm
man.
always
Well,
down.
otherwise, we could just have a podcast talking about food or politics or whatever the heck else. Because why not? It's the off season. Let's have some fun with this.
It's in the
maybe
works.
or maybe have people just tell us, hey man, what problems do y'all have going on? Tell us about y'all problems. We can give advice. That'd be fun.
I like that idea.
That'd be fun.
I do. Well, Travis and me are cooking up something. Give us some time. We're still cooking. You know, when you put a cake, I don't know much about cakes. I don't really eat sweets, but when you put something that takes a long time to cook in the oven, a sweet potato. You put a sweet potato in the oven, it takes an hour to cook. All right, you can't just like take it out immediately. So just be patient, people. We're working on something. It's gonna be good. We're gonna tell you all about it when we're ready for it. So thank you guys for being here. Quick shout out to, we had 2 super chats from Punchlines. Appreciate that. We had a bunch of channel members in here, and Travis, thank you for your time. I know it's valuable with your 8 children. I know it's tough to get away. So I really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone else that's here. We'll see you next time. As always, go Jags.